Hello and welcome my partners in crime. Welcome back to Murder Analysed for another true crime missing case. Case number 14. Now this case isn't very long at all because there's not much on this case really. But this is a very, very sad case. The disappearance of Jordan Ratcliffe. Now Jordan was this young lad, 16-year-old lad, and he disappeared from Manchester on the 31st of August 2008. As I said, he was 16. You know, he's just 16 years old. Now, Jordan, he grew up in Mosden in Manchester. Now, he was described as being, you know, well-known, well-liked. He loved his football, as many Manchester people do. You know, Manchester United FC. And he attended the North Manchester School for Boys. Now, Jordan was white, he was medium build, 5'7" tall, with brown eyes and short ginger hair. Now this boy, you know, I think his aunt said he loves, he was a great graffiti artist actually, to tell you the truth. And I think what she says is, to this day, he had put graffiti and stuff and done her name on the bin, and she keeps it outside her window so she looks at it all the time. But listen, on the 31st of August 2008 around 4:45 p.m. Jordan was dropped off by his aunt Kimberley Pierce outside the hostel. It's Tib Street, and that's in northern quarter of Manchester city centre. Now the reason he was dropped off there was because his grandfather was unwell at the time. So he was only going to go to this hostel for a short time because he was only 16. So it was like to give him a break, and I think to give the grandfather a break, and then he would have returned home. So there was no reason for this lad to run away at all. Not at all. So anyway, this day at 4:45 p.m, his aunt, Kimberley Pierce, instructed Jordan to call her once he'd settled in. So she dropped him right outside, you know, he's had to walk across, and he was there. And once he'd settled in, you know, give us a call and let us know you're all right and we'll see you in a few hours. He never called. He never called. Now I don't actually know, I don't even think he made it into the hostel at all. From the time of where she dropped him off, the short distance to the hostel, he was gone. This 16-year-old, you know, I wouldn't say streetwise at all. Could have been, but he didn't seem to be. Didn't seem to be. He just gone, disappeared. That was it. Never heard of since. Nothing, really, nothing.
Well, hopefully now we've got the reward, hopefully somebody might get in contact with some information to give to the police with regards to Jordan and his whereabouts, even if Jordan contacts us himself. And obviously just the support that we've had from the police as well, obviously Julia's especially, it just shows that obviously there's still people there that are on Jordan's side, and obviously there for me as well to support what I'm going through.
And just if you can just quickly tell us how out of character this was for Jordan, to go honest.
Well, obviously for a boy that you've had living with you, since a nephew since 20 months old, for him not to be around, it's quite strange and it's difficult. The things that you think about as well that could have happened, or hoping that hasn't happened.
So I think then that is really what you would class as the last actually sighting or credible sighting of him was on that day. You know, this 16-year-old boy. But he, you know, not even to make it inside this hostel. Really, it was a homeless shelter and stuff, because I suppose they thought, you know, he lived with the grandfather. I don't really know much about his background. There's not a lot on this boy apart from his disappearance, and that's the most important thing. I want you, as always, to have a look at these posters and stuff like that. See if you recognise anything. If you do, please say something. As I said, someone may have said something to you. Loyalties change, don't they, over the years. If anything has happened to this boy, which it probably has, really, very early on, you know, if you could let somebody know, just to give this family, and especially his aunt, a break, really, because this woman, till this day, hasn't moved house, hasn't done anything. She's waited for this boy to come home. Now, at the time of his disappearance, he was carrying a backpack, and that contained actually 1 bag of crisps or chips in what you call them, like, you know, Walkers or wherever, crisps at the time, and £5 in cash. And that was all he had at the time of his disappearance. So, you know, £5 isn't going to get you anywhere. But people have been robbed for less than that. Really, really, they have. So did something like that incur? We don't know. You're in an area where there's a lot of homeless people. Not saying that homeless people are bad, right? But some are. Some are. And so you just don't know. Something could have happened to him in that way. Now, he was wearing black trainers, black Nike tracksuit bottoms, and a grey-black jacket. That was at the time of his disappearance, and that's really all there is. From the minute she dropped him off there, he was gone. That's all we know. So I think he was actually reported as missing because the aunt thought, oh, he's just not ringing me, you know. I said, see you later. He's probably, you know, making some friends and doing what you're doing in these places. So he wasn't actually reported missing until the 8th of September 2008. And in 2010, the British Transport Police spotted a young man matching his appearance at Waterloo, who told the officers that he was from Manchester. In 2014, police visited Portsmouth following a reported sighting. However, no information was found with regards to him. In 2015, a computer-generated image, and you'll see this is the only one I've got, of what he would look like then in 2015. So I don't think we've done an up-to-date one. I think this case has now been not closed, but it's gone put over to a cold case. Anyway, in 2017, Ashton, now that's a canal right where he was sort of dropped off, was drained of part of the search for him, but nobody was discovered there, because a lot of theories are, did he just fall in, you know, bang his head, drowned, was there, you know, foul play, you know, all these sort of scenarios. So in 2017, so you can see these police have done everything they can to try and find this boy. I know that the public tried everything at the time to get the awareness out there and put stuff out there to find this young lad. But unfortunately, there was nothing in the canal that could give this family any answers, and there has been nothing else since then. Now, these police officers, literally, they've done from London, so you've got Manchester, London to seaside towns, about 250 miles radius around from this area in search of this lad, and there's been nothing. And as I said, any sightings of what the people have thought may have been him, they weren't credible sightings, they couldn't be proven. Up until now, nothing. You know, and what we're in now, 2021, December, nearly in 2022, there's been nothing of this boy at all. So please have a look at these images. I think there is a £20,000 reward, I'm sure that's still out there for him, for any information that could help trace what happened to him. Now listen, you've had a lot, haven't you, of this missing persons units, and we've had a lot of police, and sometimes I do slate the police, and I don't mean to slate the police in this way, but it's very frustrating when you have certain cases. But in this case, I'm not going to slate the police. I'm actually going to praise the police for what they've done, because this missing persons unit has tried so much and has not give up hope in finding this boy alive, really. And you know, it's really sad, really, because they have tried everything and there's just nothing. So the case was left dormant, and really, once there is no other leads coming in and stuff, then it has to be then passed to a cold case suite where it will be kept not open but there in case any other information comes out of it. Now, Kimberley's his auntie has made several emotional appeals to the public for information over the years, but finds it difficult now to speak. You know, and that I think the last time she'd done so was when it was 10-year anniversary of his disappearance, and it's very, very sad, because you know it really is, and you're thinking about that was what 2018 we're now carrying on, and there's just still been nothing. So as I said, I think what they want to do with Jordan is just keep the case alive. Someone always knows something, you know, always. If you have or any knowledge, I think, in this case. If you saw something and didn't want to say at the time, if you know something and didn't want to say at the time, you know, if you did something and you just want to get it off your chest, please come forward. Right? It is time now for this boy to be found. It really is. So as I said, people know, but it's whether people want to say or not. And so this is what these campaigns are all about, aren't they? It's to jog people's memory. So you was in Tib Street at that time, or you saw him after that or around that area, talking to someone, anything, please contact missing people. It would be really, really good if you could do that. And to give this, especially this aunt who has worked and worked and worked for years to find out what's happened to this lad, this 16-year-old boy, just gone. It's so sad, this case. So it's been a quick one, but hopefully it will be worth it. So please, if you do nothing else, please talk about this case. Have a look at the photographs. Have a look at the age progression photograph. As I said, that was done in 2015, so you may have changed a little bit by now. I don't believe with Jordan that he's probably alive. I don't. So I think we are looking now for somebody that, you know, a perpetrator here. So it's really important if you say something, even if it was an accident, you know, and you saw something, you know something, say it. Please say it. So, thank you for watching. Till the next time. Bye-bye.